One of the most important things to understand when editing photos in Lightroom Classic is the difference between RAW and JPEG format photos. So JPEG is a lossy compression used to save space. So for every digital camera that uses an SD card, the JPEG format is used to save space. So if you're shooting in JPEG, your photos will be much smaller than the ones which are shot in RAW. However, the difference between them is quite a major one when it comes to photo editing. When you use RAW photos in editing software like Lightroom Classic, you can see that there are a lot of details included in that photo, which enable you to edit your photo in a much more efficient way and give you a lot more room to change the light and color of each photo. So right here I've imported two photos and I'm going to show you the difference between each of them when it comes to editing capabilities. So the first one is the RAW photo and the second one is the JPEG photo. We'll go through the JPEG photo first so I can show you how much information is left in the photo after it has been compressed, and then we'll go through the RAW file to see the difference when it comes to adjusting your settings. So if we go in the Develop tab, we can straight away see that the photo is very dark. So I chose this particular photo to be able to highlight the difference between the photos when it comes to increasing exposure and shadows drastically, and you will be able to see exactly what I mean. So right here I will need to obviously increase the exposure for this photo because it's very dark. So as soon as I start increasing the exposure, you can see that the noise in the photo is very high right here. As you can see, the photo is very noisy. So let's go ahead and edit this photo in a way that would make sense. So I'm going to adjust a few settings right here, so highlights and shadows, and immediately I can see that I cannot even go any further with shadows actually, because I will be introducing a lot of noise, and you can see that there's a purple hue in the shadows right here. I can obviously put some white balance on the photo, but it's still very noisy, and there are a lot of JPEG artifacts, what we call JPEG artifacts right here. So that's a very clear example of the amount of compression that's included in a JPEG format. Now let's go ahead and go to the RAW file. So this is the RAW file, and the same way I did with the JPEG image, I'm going to increase exposure right away. So, and as you can see, if I increase the exposure to the very limit, there is noise. However, the shadows are not crushed and are not showing any signs of JPEG artifacts right here. Now this is obviously a bit too much in terms of exposure. I would want my image to look something like this, and then I'm going to edit a few other parameters to be able to get the desired look. So I'm reducing highlights to get a balanced look right here, and then in the shadows area I can increase the shadows by a bit to be able to make a bit of a good look in the shadows area. So right here you can immediately see that the difference between one photo and the other in the shadows area is quite drastic. As you can see, there's a ton of noise in the JPEG format, while let's go to 100% for both of them so you can see the difference. As you can see, this area right here is the same area right here, and the difference is very major. So one tip I would give to anyone starting out with photography is to always shoot in RAW. Make sure that you have enough space in your SD card when shooting on your camera, and switch your setting to shoot to RAW. This will enable you to be able to edit your photos much better in Lightroom Classic. Now let's go ahead and finalize the editing on this photo so you can see a bit of basic editing as well. So the first thing I like to do, as I mentioned in my previous video, which I will include the link to in the description below, is lens correction. Lens correction will remove this distortion that you can see right here in the horizon of the photo. So if I enable lens correction, as you can see, the horizon is straightened out. Now obviously it's not straight at the moment, and we will need to use the crop tool to straighten it out. You can use this angle straighten tool right here, and you can click one side of the photo and the other side of the photo above the horizon, and it will straighten out the photo right away for you. You can even use this normal rotate tool, which gives you a very useful grid, and you can work with that as well to straighten your photo. I typically use this one. So once there, we can also do some white balance. So white balance is the way a photo can be adjusted to the colors that should actually be true to the human eye. So in order to use white balance, there is this pipette at the top left corner of this panel, and you can click it and go to a place where a white color should be shown. So if we click this particular rock right here, this in my opinion should have been white. So if I click it, as you can see, the tone of the photo changes drastically. Then you can play around a bit with temperature and tint of the photo. I typically like a bit of a cooler looking image, so I'm going to reduce the temperature right here by a bit, and we can put a slight red tint. And as you can see, we have the final image, which looks much better than what we started with. Right here at the bottom left, you have an icon which can be pressed to show the difference in the before and after shots. And as you can see, there's a bit of a drastic difference in the way the photo looks after we've edited it in Lightroom Classic. So I hope you like the tips shown in this video. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe for more useful tips as this one. Thank you.